to the African Action Congress to address the strategy his party has for eradicating corruption, the timelines, and how feasible this is.
Thank you. Let me quickly just respond to my friend about the transparency of our party's election. It was beamed live to everyone, and we didn't pay anybody $5,000 to vote for our presidential candidate. We didn't take the BDCs from everywhere to Port Harcourt. Having said that, it is very, very important that in dealing with corruption in Nigeria, we start, as my friend said, using technology to aid prevention. But the problem with our friend is that he didn't even know which technology is out there to use for it. They have a computer that probably don't have software in ANRP. So there's what they call blockchain technology these days. There is encryption that you can use to transmit, because our biggest problem, honestly, with corruption in Nigeria is the opaque nature of how we do our transactions in the public sphere, and the lack of transparency in the way we conduct our businesses. The moment you remove that, all the thieves will be hung out dry, because before they get anything done, we have seen it, we have tracked it, and we ensure that we nip them on the board. And this will apply to every sector of our institutional public life. You know, so if we are doing contracting, it must be transparent to all. There's no reason why an average Nigerian cannot tell how much we are making in the so-called TSA, how much is there on the daily. We're entitled to it. How much are we spending? How's money moving? The second thing that we need to do is to ensure that a lot of our assets that belong to individuals or the country is also publicly available. The land registry of Abuja, you cannot find it because the whole of Abuja is owned by a few people. That should be online. The asset declaration forms of our public officers should be something you can download without having to go through it. And we don't have to having to go through, the eye of the needle. But most importantly, let's also talk about enforcement. We have enforcement agencies that are fighting corruption in this country. They don't have to be police. They don't have to. We can train people who can enforce our anti-corruption laws. How do we do it? Even sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, when money is moving around, there's paperwork and there's also paper trail. We have an NFIU. They know when thieves are stealing money. But if you don't put the right people there, you are wasting your time, because they will never whistleblow on these guys who are stealing money. But the last thing I will say is consequences. I and our party will remove everybody who has a national award who was shown in this movie by CDD today. We will remove all their national awards, take it back from them. All the GCFRs, the GCONs, and
thank
all
you
the
very much. Your
MONs
time is up.
corruption.
It's time
so that they will know, young people will know that it's not good.
Your time is up, sir. Allied
like
Congress Party of Nigeria. Have questions that you wish to ask, you indicate by a show of your hand, and I will come to you from a descriptive perspective. So if you see me saying the man with glasses or the person with a white dress, there's no disrespect meant. It's just so that our cameras can pick you and you would know that it is you that we're addressing. Show of hands. Thank you. We would like to start with the lady here.
Good morning, all. I'd like to ask a question in line with the background given to us. My name is Dr. Dayo Kusa. I'm an independent consultant and conflict transformation expert based in Abuja. I want to ask a question, anything for the children, because the beginning of life is vital. 2.5 million children die annually from extreme malnutrition. That means before the age of 5. And it has a lot to do with corruption in the health sector. Also in the lack of salaries for their parents and so forth. The beginning of life is important to me as a mother, as a citizen of this country. What would your party do to ensure that new lives go beyond 5 years, become what they need to be in this country. Some of them could even become presidents. But when they are caught up before the age of 5, nothing happens. I thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to the second.
This is Neil Bongo saying I represent Policy Alert. Yeah, I would like to focus on administrative corruption, which is carried out by low and medium bureaucrats. Now, we know that for reforms to be carried out to eradicate administrative corruption, there has to be like a carrot and stick approach, whereby the average Nigerian earns a dignified minimum living wage. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going.
I would just want to ask one question to all the representatives of the parties. We all know what's the problem, but I don't think you have given us a convincing strategy on how to tackle corruption and accountability as Eugenia raised with time frames. One thing I think we keep forgetting is what is the role of the civil servants in terms of tackling corruption. You may have all your policy frameworks, you may have all your technologies, but you need people who will carry out these policy frameworks. We know what the welfare packages of our civil servants are. Without a comprehensive, motivating civil servants, you may not be able to do whatever you say you want to do. But I hear nothing from none of you said anything about the strategy how to improve our civil service, to make them very optimum, to make them know what our responsibilities are with their own technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This will be a report for Premium Times. I want to know, you've all mentioned strengthening the institutions, fighting corruption, and tackling it from the grassroots. But you've not mentioned what are the specific things you're doing to strengthen it. Your points are just vague. Strengthening it how, where, with what? You are not being specific, so we don't know what you're going to do about it. Thank you.
All right, presidential candidate.
Thank you. I will address quickly the issue of minimum wage. We are proposing to pay 100,000 naira average to a Nigerian worker. There's no reason why a Nigerian worker would have to work for 38 years before they can earn the monthly salary of a senator in Nigeria, which is 14 million naira. It's unconscionable. So you must get your due so that you don't start thinking about stealing from the day you are hired. But that we are paying a minimum wage of 100,000 don't mean that people won't steal. What we have seen in Nigeria is that people who steal the most are people who are earning the most amount of money and allowances from the country. So it's a social disease. It's called kleptomania. You know, when people have so much and they still steal a lot. And we have to cure it again by consequences. As for the children, it is a crime that a country like Nigeria, making so much money, has become the capital of where a child is likely to die before the age of 5. It is not only bad, but our leaders who are supervising the death of these 5-year-olds ought to be tried for a crime against humanity. That is why Nigeria will become a signatory as soon as I become president. And my swearing in will be June 12th, not May 29th, because that's the day that we are proposing. Yes? And as soon as that is done, we will be a signatory to, or any process in the International Criminal Court to make corruption a crime against humanity. I'm going to support that so that so many of these leaders who have carried out this crime can face the consequences of their actions and inactions. Finally, regarding what we need to do, we will invest in kids. We have to invest in these kids, in terms of prenatal, neonatal, and antenatal care. We also have to take over 13 million kids who are not in school back into school by investing at least 1.3 trillion naira in their education. Take them out of the street so that it will be a crime in this country not to send your child to school the way it is done elsewhere.
Hello, my name is Dayo Laide, and my question is for all the candidates. It is said that an average member of Nigeria's Senate receives about 16 million naira constituency allowance. It comes to about 192 million per annum. And that the members of the House of Rep probably also receive something in similar range. Do you consider this a fair remuneration to any state official at any level at all? What is your party's plan for dealing with this? Thank you.
We're going to the next.
For media and information literacy. My question goes to all the candidates. Is there a way you think that the structure of this country enables corruption? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Miriam Bassi Orubuje. I work with Friends of the Earth and the chair of the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa. I've not heard any of you say anything about agriculture. Recently, we've heard of the influx of genetically modified foods in Nigeria. And the same thing has caused, we've heard that Monsanto, the company who is responsible for getting patents for most of this food, has caused cancer. And somebody actually got a judgment of more than close to millions of naira. We have these products in Nigeria now. And we have this company also giving permits to bring in this. What will happen to our food system? I'm really interested in what is on my plate. What are you going to do about the influx of genetically modified foods and agriculture and small-scale farmers? What are you going to do?
And finally,
it has been posited in some quarters that the rule of law is more important than even corruption itself. So my question would be, are we okay with the application of the rule of law? If not, is it okay? If not, what will you do differently and how will you do it differently?
like us to go to the African Action Congress.
Thank you. I will address directly the issue of genetically modified food first and foremost. I'm totally opposed to genetically modified food, and I will be sending a message to people who tie that to aid, that if you have to give us money so that we can kill ourselves, you may as well just shove your aid. And I'm going to ensure that we have food security in this country, grow our own food that is healthy, that is natural and organic. And we can do it, not only feed ourselves, we can feed the African continent with a landmass and our agricultural system if it's revolutionized. So that's my position. On these senators, we have to do a little bit of radicalism with even our structure. We don't need a bicameral legislative system in Nigeria. It's just too wasteful, and it has become the coven of thieves. All the retired governors go to the Senate after they have looted their states. We should not be funding that. It should be part of the restructuring debate that we can make do with a unicameral legislative system of part-time legislators. They don't have bicameral legislative system in Senegal. They've completed the second airport. They don't have it in South Korea. What are we doing with it here? That is why they have so much money. They not only engage in stealing our money, they engage in crime. We have senators in this country that are cited for armed robbery, murder, because they are just living large on our backs. On the issue of the structure of Nigeria, I have to say that everything Nigeria, with due respect, and I'm sorry, there's just too much fraud about Nigeria, because it was set up by the colonialists as a business, not as a nation. But we cannot continue to give that excuse as a reason why we can't fix our own country at this time. Even the name Nigeria was obtained from the girlfriend of Lord Lugard. It wasn't us that gave. Look at the Nigerian flag, tasteless, just black, white and green. A lot of things needs to be done.
Okay, that's.
I will be completely opposed to the use of manual declaration of assets should be digitized. Not only will I digitize it, but it's also important to apply some of that technology to asset declarations, so that on the website of the the Code of Conduct Bureau, you can actually geolocate the home of your public officials, on Google Maps, so that you can view it from above and from the street, so that if people are declaring assets that don't exist, Google will tell you, and everybody will know. And if they have declared an asset that is not their own, the owner of the asset can cry out, and we can have commentaries about it, and we make it public. So that's something I support. I wish I can address other issues. I guess we'll get to it later.
Only 2 minutes for you to deal with these questions. Some people have argued that corruption cannot be addressed because the key agencies are corrupt. Some of them are saying the police, some of them are saying the judiciary. How does your party intend to address this problem? And I'd like to start.
Over these years is that we are relying too much on these ad hoc organizations to address corruption without thinking about institutionalizing the anti-corruption fight. Apart from the established organizations, I also think that we should strengthen the police. It's actually the job of the police to catch corrupt people. That is why whenever you set up the organization, you go back to the police to look for people to carry out enforcement. So why don't we strengthen our police, train them properly? You know, look, we might keep saying that the police is the most corrupt, but it's the same police that produce Nuhu Ribadu. In fact, every time we are looking for the most non-corrupt human being to fight corruption, we go to the Nigerian police. So we have to focus on our police in addition to the existing organization, but I also have to support, and I'm sorry to agree with him on that one, that I support the independence of the EFCC. Right now, for you to get prosecution of anyone in Nigeria, the EFCC must first carry your file to the villa. And if the villa says don't touch the person will not be prosecuted. If they say touch the person, it doesn't matter how clean the person is, EFCC will find something against you. You know, when you are talking about, you say, don't mention names of people. Look, one of the things we have to seriously be talking about, we have to be mobilizing shame against people who are stealing and destroying the country. Because they have a home address, they have a surname, they have a first name. It's the reason why I was so appalled not to see APC people here today, because we have mentioned the likes of Akpabio and Ojius Okalu, who are undergoing investigation and corruption, who are members of the party. The same way we can talk about Saraki and the rest of them, who are the major operators of the PDP. We have to mention names. There's nothing we can do about it, because people destroy this country. They have names, they are driving cars, they register the cars, they are living in mansions on our back. And we are here saying, don't talk about them. I'm sorry.
It's a rule of the debate, sir.
We have to talk about them.
If you are part of this debate, you have to keep the rule of the debate. I'm afraid. You have to keep the rule of the debate. That's the rules of the debate.
The rules cannot preclude us talking about things that are
the rules as it is made in broadcasting is expected that you do not do that when you're on the podium. This is a platform you have been given. I would expect you to respect the rules.
We don't have to fight.
No, I'm doing my job, sir. I'm doing my job. I'd like to go now to Mr. Tope Fasua, Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party, to give it only 1 minute 30 seconds. Our time is fast spent. So, Mr. Timekeeper, please take note of 1 minute 30 seconds. It's an important question, so I'd like you to please focus. Party primaries threw up a lot of corruption issues with allegations of vote buying and bribery of party officials. If the political class is implicated, why should Nigerians believe parties when they talk about combating corruption? And I would like to start with the
months. We started as a movement. Before then, that had been around for 9 months. And within 4 months, we have shown character, we've shown competence, we have shown transparency. Our party, as I'm standing in front of you, has 3,999,000 naira in its account. It's not been touched. No party, especially the established ones, can tell you how much they have, because they have too much money. And we have been able to set up all over the country. We have traveled to 33 states with less than 100 million naira. What we want to do is also ensure that we sanitize the political system in such a way that people no longer believe in money. We demystify money. People will tell you that if you don't have money, you can't contest for the presidency. Is a lie. You can contest for the presidency of Nigeria if you don't have money, if people give you money. And we receive money. I have received almost 99 million naira today from GoFundMe, which is transparently available publicly, and also from contribution from a Zenith bank account we set up. And with that, we traveled around this country. So what we're saying is that our party is not engaged in any form of corruption. Regardless of what our friend was trying to insinuate here, they try to tag other people with the kind of their own dirty brush, But our party is available to be scrutinized. We are not buying any votes. I don't give money to anybody. I don't give money to police. It's the reason why I don't have police protection, because the police people want me to pay them for it. I say I can't afford.
Thank you very much.
Police to protect.
Well, thank you. I can excuse Sowore because he represents one of the briefcase parties, so he can sit, just register a party, be the sole candidate, and collect money from people. You declare that you have received 99 million naira, and you are telling us that only 3.9 million is left. That means you have spent up to that amount. But you've forgotten to tell us how much dollars, because you have an online account where people were paying dollars into. You have not told us that. So, no, I'm making my point. Let me have mine. So, just to tell you That's to tell you that anybody who wants to talk about anti-corruption must also come with clean hands. Having said that,
where is that?
Let me pull up that.